So as a wildlife photographer coming out into the woods, it can be extremely difficult to locate and photograph your subjects. Today I'm looking for a couple of specific birds. One would be the tawny owl and the owlets, and the second is the Cetti warbler, which is a small bird that is very hard to find. You can often hear it because it is extremely loud, but being able to photograph it is another matter, and locate it as well. But today I have my Quest H35R thermal binoculars from NocPix. Now these are going to help me locate my subject in the treetops, in the thick foliage, in the bushes, and enable me to photograph the birds that I'm after. So behind me we have this wonderful English woodland, and I'm hoping that somewhere in here we have a tawny owl and an owlet. So I'm going to get my thermal binoculars switched on, simply clicking this button here, and it does have a record and photo button so I can capture anything that I see in my thermal binoculars. It also has a rangefinder, so it gives me a range, a distance as to where the birds are going to be. So when I come to switch my camera on, I can then locate the bird and photograph it. Well, they are proving hard to find this morning. With it being quite warm today and warm temperatures, we do have a few hot spots, but these are just the warmth coming from the trees and the leaves. But being able to locate a target is quite obvious once you get used to using these and you know what you're looking for. So I'm going to carry on looking and see if I can find the tawny owls. Okay, I think I've located the owlet. I think it's the owlet tawny owl. I'm just going to hit record. And get my camera out to double check. Yes, it is. So I've located the owlet just up in the tree at the back of the woods here. Absolutely fantastic. There is no way I would have been able to see that or even find it without these thermal binoculars, that is for sure. Yeah, using thermal binoculars to locate your subject, whether it's a wild deer or a little bird in a tree, the Quest H35R thermal binoculars certainly are proving their value and worth, that is for sure. Okay, so I now know where the owlet is. Now let's try and find mother, because she won't be far away. There she is, just at the top of this tree. Let me get my camera. Just fantastic. she is so well camouflaged in there, it's incredible. So we've now got the owlet making its way across to its mother in this side of the tree. Yeah, thermal binoculars. Find and locate your subject quickly, easily, and move on to the next once you've taken your photos. Okay, so I'm going to make my way to a hide, see if I can find a bittern, but my second subject of the day is the Cetti warbler. And I'm not leaving until I've located it, videoed it, and photographed it. It's going to be a true test for the Quest H35R thermal binoculars. So I've spent a couple of hours this morning having a walk around the reed beds and by the water. Saw a couple of marsh harriers this morning. Being able to see some of the warblers, but they're just in the reeds, and sometimes you can't see them, but I've been able to use the thermal binoculars just so I can follow them and see where they're going. Unfortunately, they haven't come out enough for me to actually photograph them, but great to see them with the thermal imaging camera, that's for sure. Cetti's warbler still evading me. I have had a couple of close encounters. I've seen them through the thermal binoculars, but just not being able to spot them enough to photograph them as yet. But I'm going to make my way around to some other areas that have potential for Cetti's warblers, and hopefully I can track them and then photograph them. So I've made my way through the woods now, and I've been tracking this Cetti's warbler. It's been flying through the woods, being able to track it completely with the thermal binoculars. Still yet to take a picture of it, but there are some other warblers as well, and I'm not too sure what they are. So I'm just going to stay here and have a look in all these trees here, because I suspect that they are in here somewhere. It's just a matter of finding them. And that is the sound of a Cetti's warbler. Just gone into the trees in here. So I'm going to stay here and hope that it'll come out. So the next time you head out to do some bird photography or wildlife photography, and you're going out into dense foliage like this, in fact, if you're going anywhere, then a pair of thermal imaging binoculars from NocPix should be in your kit. It's going to make your life so much easier and more rewarding when you get those images that you've struggled so long to get. And I've got another little bird coming in, I think. So the Quest H35R thermal imaging binoculars from NocPix remain in my kit throughout the year. They are a vital part to my wildlife photography in order to find the wildlife, document the wildlife, and giving me the opportunity to perhaps find wildlife that I couldn't normally see, which is proven so many times in the last 6 months of having these thermal binoculars. I've been able to go out and find the owls, the deer, the mountain hares, the smaller birds in the thick bushes and foliage. It's just been a game changer for me using the thermal imaging binoculars. They do have a rangefinder, so you can check the distance of your subject. You can take images with the binoculars. You can also do video recording of the subject and the thermal imaging that it displays. Full calibration, firmware updates available. You can connect it via an app on your phone, but the NocPix thermal binoculars will be staying in my kit every time I go out and do some wildlife photography.